What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch in the Rube, our Tuesday night show, brought to you by our friends at Firekeepers Casino and the iCasino and Sportsbook app. Download the app today. Bet the games we're betting, or bet better games than what we're betting. We will get into the games we're betting in a little bit with Harry today, and also our Tuesday night show presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar just north of Frandor on East Saginaw and Lansing. If you're looking for a place to watch Michigan State versus Iowa and then perhaps drink your sorrows away, Front 43 and Cask & Company is as good as it gets. Jason, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, we don't have enough time for all of that.
So what you're saying is that we're going to have to get hammered Saturday night for this Iowa game.
I don't know
That's what
that.
I'm getting.
I think, it's one of those.
Not just you. I'm getting it from a lot of people. It's like, we better get shit-faced. Be brutal.
We're going to talk to Chad Leistikow in a little bit from the Des Moines Register a little later in the show to get a sense of, like,
Are they going to cover this? Iowa going to cover the spread?
Bad Iowa is, right? And what exactly, Michigan State is walking into.
And did he fall for the Brian Ferentz AI little trick video thing like Graham did?
He wrote a pretty tough column today on them, on just their wide receiver targets and their lack of the offense sucks for Iowa. I mean, they had less than 100 yards.
I saw that. Isn't it like 14 target receptions for the wide receivers for Iowa?
It was brutal. It was
Brian Ferentz, hot seat.
Just complete misery. I don't know. I don't know.
So football sucks elsewhere as well, not just
here.
Yeah.
So I don't know how bad it is a night game at Kinnick Stadium, which usually doesn't go well for a lot of opponents.
No.
Better opponents than Michigan State is now. And the other thing we don't know about Michigan State is exactly who will be playing this week. They have said all the right things, the guys who have played, right? Harlan Barnett has said everybody said they're going to play. All the players are like, everybody's in. We expect everybody to be in. And that's fine. Most of the guys saying that don't really have an option. They don't have a lot of eligibility left. But there are a number of guys, and I went through this for a column I'm writing that's going to go up tomorrow once Mel Tucker is officially fired. And by the time most of you listen to this, Mel Tucker will officially no longer be Michigan State's
How many times do they
coach.
have to do it, though? Like, I thought he was fired already.
Just 7. This is the
7
7th.
times?
7 times. This is it.
All right.
The 7th time.
Mel, you're fired.
And
Jesus.
and then there will still be a lawsuit and other things. But this will be the time that there is a break that he is officially removed, right, and not coming back to the program, which we already knew. As this happens, obviously, the transfer portal opens to a number of players, and there are a lot of guys with eligibility remaining who began their careers at Michigan State who are going to have options to transfer. Like 25 players who began their career at MSU who not only haven't used their transfer but have their red shirt available. 31 others who began at MSU with eligibility remaining but have used their red shirt, which that matters because the second you step on the field at Iowa, if you've already played in the first 4 games, you can no longer use this as a redshirt season. And so that matters for some guys, too. And consequential guys. Like, I don't think a guy like Dylan Tatum is quitting on this team, is not going to play. But he is one of 10 players on Michigan State's roster who has already played 4 games who has a redshirt season available. There are a lot of other guys who have a redshirt season available who haven't played 4 games, who played 1, 2, or 3, or 0. And it's not such a consequential week. They can kind of think about things longer. But for Dylan Tatum, Malik Spencer, Chance Rucker, Angelo Gross, Zion Young, Jordan Hall, Tyrell Henry, Montori Foster, Jordan Simmons, and long snapper Hank Pepper, this is the moment. The second they get on the field at Iowa, this season counts. And that might be okay for them. They may not be sure if they want to leave. They may not want, this is still could be a really good season for them individually. There could be things that they feel good about as a team that they accomplish. They could be out there with their brothers. They've been working on this season since January, and they'll tell you that. And I think if I had to guess, most, if not all of these guys will be on the field against Iowa. But those are guys who have a decision to make this week if they want this season. Doesn't even mean they want to leave MSU. I mean, I don't know how it would look if you wanted to stay at MSU. But if you were a player who was like, I don't want this mess to be my last go-around, or I don't want this to count toward my eligibility. Again, I don't think most guys who stop playing at this point would be guys who are going to stay at MSU. But certainly if they're thinking they want this year back, this is the moment for at least 10 guys and 10 consequential players.
Are you more enthusiastic than Harlan Barnett is? I mean, you sounded like you were giving a speech to these players. I just don't know why any of the players would stick around for this shit. I don't blame anyone for wanting to get out of here because you have to fire Mel Tucker 8 times. I mean, why would you want to sit there and dedicate yourself to this program unless you're going to gamble thinking, if I stay here, I'm going to be a starter?
Well,
that's the only thing I can think of.
It's easier said than done. These guys are athletes. They bet on themselves all the time, and they may.
But is it going to get better this season, though, Graham?
Well, maybe not this season, but I can understand you're not gonna probably duck out on this season if you're going to stick around at MSU. And sometimes we're too transactional, we're too laissez-faire, and just sort of the idea that these guys are they'll leave here, they'll jump here. Why stick around? Yeah. Some of them have lives here. Some of them have friends here. Some of them are close to graduating at Michigan State. There are other reasons. Some of them are actually happy on campus beyond just football. You have to pull up your life because Mel Tucker did something, because things changed on you and go. There's more to football than that. And you don't know what the football is going to be for you beyond this year at Michigan State. You don't know who the coach is going to be. But there's also a lot of unknown in the portal and in situations beyond Michigan State that you don't know what that would be either. You don't know if that would be any better. It still doesn't guarantee anything. And one of the other things is for these guys is I know the portal opens to them. And we've talked about this and the idea that the portal is going to be open again to all of college football at the end of the year. There should be no rush. They need to have really good messaging right now. That dumb uncle who's in every one of these guys' ears, keep that dude away. This is a bad week.
Your uncle? You have to disown your uncle?
Everybody's got a dumb shit uncle. Keep the dumb shit uncle away. Whoever gets in your ear and gives you bad advice, whatever buddy it is back, but whoever it is that you actually occasionally listen to, keep that dude away, because there is absolutely no reason to get in the portal this week. And not even if you're sure you want to leave, because it's 30 days it's open. Why not wait till after the Michigan game? You can still get in the portal then. And you just remain in the portal and people can contact you throughout so you've got 30 days to decide. There is zero reason to get in now. You're going to be able to get in at the end of the year as well. It doesn't make a lot of sense to do it right now. So you got to have that messaging's got to be there. The coaching staff, which this must suck to be them in a lot of ways, but you've also got to have some foresight and think about the program long term and think about these kids and give them that messaging. I understand that this is tough, and I understand we're having these everybody's in this together moments. But if this is something you're thinking about, you've got time. Don't do it this week. Give yourself all the time to get all the data you can get. So, but this week gets interesting because for players who want that eligibility and want this year back, now is the time for 10 of them at least. So
I feel bad for the players, man.
It sucks.
Yeah,
it sucks. No,
because the coaches you spoke of, I mean, it's like they get millions of dollars to go elsewhere, and I know you have to uproot your families, but
no, the families sign up for this. They're professionals. Yeah. I get it. It's not great. Coaches get fired all the time. It's not ideal. You do feel for them. You feel a lot worse for the players because they've got a limited time to do this. A lot of them will never play pro ball or anything beyond this. This is their opportunity, and it's being marred by uncertainty and something they didn't sign up for. And it happens at a lot of programs, not usually quite like this.
Don't coach my team.
Well, now that football's over, how about basketball, huh?
Let's speak about some happier stuff for MSU fans. So basketball practice opened this week.
No injuries, right?
Well, the only thing is there's a little minor ankle sprain that happened late last week to Jay Nakins.
Frank.
He's fine. He's fine. It was not Liz Frank. It was a small injury from everything I understood. He's fine. It's not a big deal.
How about 1 year, no injuries? Is that possible? None?
I don't know if none is possible, but if you can get a year where like an ankle sprain is the worst, that's not bad. You're going to have some ankle sprains where you don't have the knee, the month you're out, the 2 months you're out, the stuff that really, really changes a season. But what was interesting about so Tom Izzo holds a press conference on Monday before practice, and then they had an open practice. And a lot of that open practice is sort of an off-the-record. It gives you an idea of what's happening, but you're not supposed to report on individual things. What I do feel comfortable saying is the competitive energy is going to be really healthy for this team. Like, it's not like when Miles Bridges showed up with Cassius Winston and Nick Ward and Joshua Langford, and they were like the dudes right away as freshmen. Like, these guys who are talented freshmen are coming in with guys who are just in a Sweet 16, with guys who are 22, 23 years old and have been through all this and are expecting to start and expecting to win and know the way. The competition for the next 6 weeks will be better for those freshmen than they may get during much of the season because they're going to face a better team opposite them than they're going to face most nights. And you talk about growth and, you know, one of the things they always say about Georgia football in recruiting is the practices are harder than the games. You play against better players here. You get to the NFL because of the practices. And that's what develops you. And so I do think that for Michigan State this year, you know, even if some guys, and I think guys aren't going to be thrilled about some of the playing time because you can do the math. Some guys aren't going to be happy all the time. But you can sell them on there's a lot of growth coming on. This is going to be really good for you long term. And whether kids believe that, whether that dumb uncle lets them believe that, whether their buddies let them believe that, it'll be interesting. But I thought Izzo was you can tell how much Izzo is like you watch him watch them play and you watch him watch like a guy like Booker catch a pass on the break and put down a dunk. You watch him some of the things that these young guys can do. You watch Cohen Carr get a rebound in a way that maybe only Cohen Carr can get a rebound. You can just see Izzo's eyes light up, right? Like he is going to have fun with the possibilities for this team. But what he did talk about was like how it all comes together. And I think that is still a really, really big question.
And what he's excited about, right, is Walker and Malik Hall returning fifth-year seniors. He likes that kind of leadership right there. That's why he's probably a little bit cockier than usual, right? He knows he's got veteran guys like that.
He's as I struggle to put this phrase together, but he's threaded a needle that almost nobody can do anymore, right? The idea that you get this many guys back, and the COVID year helped that. You don't get Malik Hall back. You don't get Tyson Walker back without the COVID year. So there's some of this that'll never happen again. You might not get a couple of the freshmen coming in if they knew Hall and Walker were coming back. But those guys had already signed early. So there's a couple dynamics that are really hard. And then in the transfer portal era, to keep an entire group together. And I do think Izzo bet right on not recruiting over the center position last year. And I've gone back and forth on how I feel about this. They could have been better at center last year if he had worked to get a transfer. But his players, and he's heard them talk about it with some of the pro guys who were back recently, Draymond and those guys, his players felt that loyalty. They feel the loyalty to him not recruiting over them with transfers who are in their class. They get the talented freshmen are coming in. That's the natural progression in college basketball. But there is a loyalty there, and I think there's a culture. I know that word is overused in college sports, but there is something there that helps a lot of those guys want to stay and want to be a part of things and feel like he's got their back, that he believed in them. I still don't know whether they have a center. They have a much more compelling center position. I still don't know whether they have a center who gets it done against Zach Edey, gets it done against some of the top couple guys in the Big Ten and around the country and deep into the NCAA tournament. But they're a lot better off there for sure. And they're deep as hell everywhere else. And as Izzo said, it's just a matter of like putting it together. And
is there a player that you're kind of gravitating towards? I know Carson Cooper, Jackson Kohler kind of last year for you. I mean, is there a guy that we can...
Yeah, you know, I would say...
That Graham that maybe you think that you play like or something?
Did I play like... No, I mean, Cooper to me is the highest ceiling complete center for this year. I would say, Booker long term, how long he stays at MSU or whatever. But in terms of the guy this year, based on his physical build, abilities on both ends of the court and everything, I think Carson Cooper could be it. There were things, and again, a lot of it's, I can't get into the specifics too much, but there were things that I saw from Cohen Carr in one practice that make you think that guy is going to be hard to keep off the floor at times. And it's not, yes, he keeps dunking, but it's the rebounding and stuff like that. So it's I've said before, how he defends and rebounds will determine how many dunks he gets to have. And that sort of stuff is really, really important. He's a freshman. He'll have moments, and he's going to have to battle for minutes because there's guys in front of him who've been through been through the battles and all that good stuff. So, but yeah, no, it was, at the end of a couple really, really, I think, exhausting weeks of football for a lot of people, and even for people who cover it, it was fun to talk hoops, to think hoops. I'm a hoops guy over a football guy. I think people know that. I just enjoy the intimacy of the sport and the way you're able to cover it. And obviously MSU is going to be really good this year. And they need football back. Izzo knows that too. Izzo knows they need football. Football is so much the psyche of the university. You can have in a hockey program people are excited about. You can have a volleyball program people are up on. You can have a great basketball season. But football messes with your psyche when football is not right. They got to get football right, and that matters to the whole campus and everything. So that's still, we got a lot of time to talk about MSU football over the coming 2 months and all that stuff. Want to also remind people, great specials on happy hour at Front 43 and Cask & Company. It's one of those places, too, if you're looking for a date night on a college football, college basketball night, NFL day, whatever it might be, Cask & Company, the way the setup is there, you can take somebody to a restaurant that feels like it's an event, it's an evening, and yet there's a TV right over the shoulder. You can pretend to look at your significant other. You'll be able to see the game, experience the game, and experience them. It's the perfect date place in a lot of ways for that. Front 43, a cool pub vibe right next door, same menu, fantastic drink selection. Go to caskandcompany.com to check that all out. We're going to come back. We're going to pick the games. We'll talk a little Iowa football later with Chad as well. We'll pick the games with Harry first. Couch in the Roof, presented by Firekeepers, iCasino and Sportsbook app, and Front 43 and Cask & Company.
Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch in the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at gomuskox.com, where Couch in the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF. Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play. Get your Vegas on right now from your phone, tablet, or laptop. All the hottest slots and tables, plus sports betting featuring in-game wagering. Download the app at firekeeperscasino.com. Go with the name you know. Firekeepers. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Wherever you are on your cannabis journey, let Sky Mint Premium Cannabis be your guide, your friend, and your place. Whether you're curious about cannabis or a seasoned connoisseur, Sky Mint's knowledgeable staff will help you with a vast selection of products to choose from to fit your needs. Sky Mint believes access to the best cannabis helps people do good and feel good, so they grow it right here in Michigan, giving you high-quality, locally grown cannabis at highly accessible prices. Visit skymint.com for special offers and location information throughout Michigan, and use the promo code CouchAndRube20 for 20% off your first visit. Sky Mint Cannabis. You'll love this place.
Find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite podcast addict.
Couch in the Rue, presented by our friends at Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. It is time to pick the games with our good friend from The Ringer and from the Against All Odds podcast with Cousin Sal, the great Harry Gagnon. Harry, how are you, sir?
What's up, guys? How's everything?
Doing well.
Nice.
I discovered something today that there's a lot of money to be made on like low-level early games in English football cup action. And so I'm excited, and
thank God.
Made a little money on Ipswich today. Think I'm going to be on Leicester tomorrow. There's Exeter City, beat Luton Town, all sorts of. You can tell when the bigger team doesn't care, Vegas doesn't know how to deal with it, and that's what I'm figuring out.
I'm telling you, Jason needs to jump on.
Yeah, with the Ryder Cup going on this week, and football, and going to Lambeau. Yeah, I'm going to flip on some soccer, boys. I'll leave that to you guys.
You going to Lambeau? Nice.
Yeah. Hopefully I'm not a we went to the game last Sunday, Harry. I'm not a jinx. We won that game in Atlanta. So, yeah, we're going to Lambeau tomorrow, leaving tomorrow, and we're going Thursday Night Football. Hopefully I can meet Al Michaels. I need to ask you, like, how do I get into stuff like that? Because I know that you're good at getting up there and getting, like, I'm surprised you weren't, like, next to Al Michaels in the booth sometimes for these games.
I know, right? He is hey, Al Michaels did go to Arizona State. You'd think I would have met him somewhere along the line. I just haven't, though.
Or lived near him or something.
Yeah, right, something.
All right, well, let's dig into these games. Let's start with the Lions, Packers. And the line is up to 2 by some people. It's crept toward the Lions. I've seen some places. Still 1.5 for our purposes here, and hopefully you can get it there. Lions minus 1.5 at the Packers. Packers with some injury issues, although I think they may have some guys back this week. The Lions looked really good. They slayed. I think it's important that they went to Green Bay and looked like they did and sort of slayed that demon, whatever that was on their shoulder, that monkey, whatever it is. You don't slay a monkey, but you know what I mean. They slayed the monkey last year at the end of the season, so that's out of the way. I want to like the Lions here. I'm so scarred by 30 years of watching Lions-Packers games. I have to picture it, and I can't quite do it. As a home dog, I'm taking the Packers. I mean, I'm not really going to bet the Packers because that would ruin the experience Thursday night. But for our purposes, I'm on the Packers. Jason, where are you?
What do you mean, where am I going with this? How the fuck am I going to pick the Packers after I'm going to the game, of course, boys? But give me the Lions, minus 1 and a hook. I don't care about that. What do you got, Harry?
Yeah, I mean, Green Bay last week. I did have Green Bay on the money line last week against the Saints. Totally fortunate to pull that out. And Green Bay's just fortunate the Saints' offense stinks. A really nice win for Detroit, especially defensively, shutting down that running attack of Atlanta. Look, you guys know I'm going to come out with a cartoon soon. It's not officially finished yet. I will have that out for release, ready to go tomorrow on Wednesday, and I am taking the Lions to keep rolling. I'm going with Goff. I love what they're doing. Lions is the play.
Can't believe I'm on the Packers here.
Restore the roar.
God, I'm such an ass. I can't believe I'm on the Packers. That's not even fun. It's just not even a fun pick.
I think the best part was Harry going, my cartoon drops tomorrow.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part. Those things are awesome. I love
those. Jay, by the way, just throwing it out there since you guys are in Michigan and there's weed dispensaries and gummies everywhere and everything. I recommend if you're a gummy taker and you bet football and you like the Lions, I recommend to take one before you watch this video because it's a Wizard of Oz theme. Just throwing that out there.
You don't have to twist my arm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. Next game, Buffalo is check that. Miami +3 at the Bills. I'm probably going to lose this week if Miami doesn't cover this. And because this seems too good to be true, it's an early season game at Buffalo, the way Miami's been playing. I didn't jump as hard on the Dolphins last week as I wanted to because the line looked fishy. But apparently Vegas doesn't know shit when it comes to the Dolphins. And neither does the public if that line was where it was. I am on the Dolphins until they prove me wrong. I know the Bills looked a ton better last week. Give me the Dolphins +3. Jason, where are you?
You mean Vegas didn't know that the Dolphins were going to win by 50?
Well, more than
6.5.
What was that line about? At home against the Broncos made no sense at all.
You know, the Bills did look good last week, but with that offense, and you're giving me 3, I know it's on the road, but give me the Dolphins +3, Harry. What do you got?
This game's going to be great, right? I mean, look, in the playoffs, not even with Tua, Dolphins almost pulled that game off against the Bills in Orchard Park. But, boy, the Dolphins put up 70, and then everyone will probably be on them this week. The Bills are starting to really look good again. I'm gonna lay. You know what? I'll lay the 3 here with the Bills. But if I'm gonna take them in a parlay, if I recommend in a 2-3 team parlay, I would take the Bills on the money line. I wouldn't want to lay the 3 here because Miami's running game was amazing. It's been amazing all season so far. Their offense has been great, but I just think too many people will be on the Dolphins here. I'm going to lay it with the Bills.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills might be. The Bills may have had a weird first week too, like that loss to the Jets. I don't. A lot of, Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. It throws everybody off.
A lot of emotions going on there, Graham. It was 9/11. It was New York. Yep. Rodgers, the Jets, the anticipation of the Jets. So, yeah, it's a whole buildup of that. Since then, Bills look great.
Bills look really good. Yeah. All right, Kansas City minus 9.5 at the Jets. The last NFL game we're picking this week.
Will Taylor Swift be there?
Kansas City in New York, not far from her apartment. I'm under 10 points against this Jets team with Zach Wilson, who looks like he has no confidence at all. I'm sorry. I'm taking Kansas City. I think they're rolling. I think we are helped here by the Lions beating Kansas City because the Kansas City can't fuck around anymore. So give me Kansas City minus 9.5. I'd probably take this up to like 13. Jason, where are you?
Listen, I know the Zach Wilson situation, but this is in New York. I just think 9.5 is heavy. I think the Jets D is still pretty good, and the Kansas City wide receiver core, I just don't know. It just seems like it's too many points. Give me the Jets plus the 9.5. What do you got here?
I don't know. I don't like this game at all. I'll take Kansas City, I guess, because their offense finally showed up against Chicago. But more than that, can we get like a pool together? Me, you two guys, a couple other guys in the studio there that you guys are friends with and bet. Can we just like have a pool of how long this relationship between Kelsey and Swift lasts? Like who we can start at like 3 months. I'll take 5 months. I'll take 5 months, but I don't even think it lasts that long. I just don't think it does.
I was listening to your buddy Bill Simmons podcast over on the Ringer, and he was saying, or they had a guest on. They were basically saying that the concept that Travis Kelce is eventually going to try to do what The Rock did or something like that, move into movies and all this, and this is all calculated. And which
what does that have to do with Taylor Swift then?
Well, because
he wants to be famous.
Shoot your shot with Taylor Swift. Yeah. I mean, his profile has been raised tenfold now, if you think about it.
But does that look fun, though, having to be Travis Kelce with Taylor Swift? I'd rather be with someone that looks at me like, holy shit, I'm with Travis Kelce. She doesn't look like that. Like,
does she look like to you guys? Like, it looks like to me, like maybe I'm dead wrong, but Kelce kind of like bowing down to her a little bit already, just like in pictures and videos, and like, he's just in awe of her that he's with her instead of just like being an equal. I don't know.
She's the biggest celebrity pretty much in the United States, if not the world, right? I mean,
she's got way more money than him too. Way more money.
I would happily be with Taylor Swift if she would let me be with Taylor Swift.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You would, huh?
Actually, not to. My wife could listen to this. My wife could listen to this. I would. No fucking way I'd be with Taylor Swift. I'm with Elizabeth Couch. Screw that, All right, we'll fix that in post.
She's going to be real proud of you.
For sure. I mean, if I were in Travis Kelce's shoes, rather, of course. All right. So, Harry, who are you on then?
I don't like I don't like laying the points, but I am going to lay the 9.5 here. Like I said, Kansas City offense finally showed up, and the Jets have zero offense. It's awful watching it. It really is.
If we talk more about Taylor Swift than the actual game, it's probably a fade, right?
Yeah, I would say you're right. Yep.
All right, let's go to the college. Let's go to the college games. Notre Dame minus 5.5 at Duke. I love this line. I'm going to sprinkle on Duke a little bit. This is the spot where Notre Dame a year ago then turned around and lost to Marshall. And this would be a real test. And do I think they're a little bit better than Duke? Probably. But on the road at Duke, the home team getting 5.5, and I certainly like it in teasers. If you can buy that half point, you can find it at 6, feel a little bit better. I'm all over Duke here. Jason, where are you?
Yeah, this is a spite bet because Notre Dame screwed me versus Ohio State. And Mike Elko, the next Michigan State University football coach, give me Duke and the points at home. What do you got here?
Yeah, I'm going to take Duke, too. I like this Duke quarterback. He was great in the opener against Clemson to start the season. This could be a total letdown for Notre Dame after falling in the last seconds to Ohio State at home. Now they got to go back to North Carolina for the second time in like 3 weeks. I'm going to take the points with Duke, sure.
All
I'm
right.
with you.
Yeah, no, I think that's a smart move. All right, Michigan minus 17.5 at Nebraska. I know it's a big number on the road. Michigan finally steps away from home, which they haven't done. Still don't really play anybody. It's pretty remarkable how deep they're going to go in the season before they're tested. But 17 in the hook, it sits there and it wants you to say don't do it. I think Nebraska is not very good. I think they're okay in certain places. They don't have a quarterback who's going to test you. I think Michigan's going to win this game by 3 touchdowns. I'm not afraid of the 17.5. Jason, where are you?
Yeah, I wonder who Harry's going to pick in this this one here. But the Huskers they looked really bad last week, but I just think 17.5 at home. Nebraska steps it up against Michigan. They cover the spread. What do you got, Harry?
The Rutgers line last week getting a lot of places was 24.5. So that means Rutgers was a winner. That means Michigan was a loser against the spread. That would put Michigan at 0-4 against the spread this season. And I'm not good picking Michigan right now. Harbaugh's back still. Didn't get the cover. I'm gonna lay the 17.5 just because he's got to cover sooner or later. He just has to. I don't like it. I don't love it, but I'm taking Michigan.
What if Michigan goes 0 for ATS like the whole season?
But they win every game.
Sure.
All right,
Yeah.
Georgia minus 14.5 at Auburn, and maybe Peyton Thorne. I don't know if he's starting this week or not. I love this game in teasers. You get it under 10. I think Auburn's defense is okay, but their offense has not been in the realm to compete with Georgia. The hook there is supposed to scare you. It doesn't scare me. I think Georgia's gonna wreck Auburn here. Where are you?
Yeah, Peyton Thorne should fake sick or something because you want to get it down to 10. I just want it under the 14.5. Give me like 13.5, and I'm absolutely hammering this game. Give me Georgia minus the 14 and a hook. Harry, what do you got?
Look, I know the Tigers looked bad against A&M, but I'm going to take more than the 2 touchdowns here. I think they bounce back after playing terrible in College Station at home. They get Georgia in their house. I think they show up for this one. Laid an egg last week. I'm taking the 14.5.
All right. NBC lucks out in prime time. Michigan State plus 12 at Iowa. Holy shit. NBC is going to cancel the TV contract before this. Okay. So Iowa scoring 12 points is a little bit in question in any game, right? Michigan State's defense looked a little bit better. I know this line jumped from 8 to 12. Michigan State, the wheels could come off at night at Kinnick. But Iowa's offense has not shown us that is possible. And I also don't think Michigan State is so putrid that they don't get in the end zone once. So what I'm saying is Michigan State is going to get to 7. So the question is, can Iowa get to 20? And maybe they can, but I'm not betting on Iowa's offense to get to 20 against Michigan State. I would not advise people to bet this line because you don't know where Michigan State's heads are. But just in a talent perspective, what we've seen from Iowa offensively and everything, I think Michigan State covers 12 in what's an ugly, awful game to watch. The under is where to be on Michigan State and Iowa always. But, Jason, where are you?
But Brian Ferentz, he's got to score at least 60 to keep his average up to 25 or whatever he has to get to after putting up a donut against Penn State, right? I can't trust Michigan State's D on the road at Kinnick at 7:30, even if Mel Tucker and everything was going great for this program right now. But you throw everything that's happened this past couple months or whatever, just it's a fade. But Iowa given the 12. What do you got here?
Yeah, I hear what Graham. I hear what you're saying. I agree with you about the Iowa offense. They just don't really run it up. And I haven't taken Michigan State yet this year with you guys. So give me the Spartans. I'll take more than 10 here.
Beautiful. Yeah, no, not this game was beautiful, but that's a beautiful pick. All right, USC, final game of the day. USC minus 21.5 at Colorado. Colorado is the 21.5 is meant to spook you. USC cannot play defense. They're not as complete as Oregon. So I think that is where it gets a little bit weird. 21.5 is like this game could be like 49-30, and USC doesn't cover. I think Colorado's in a little bit of trouble here. I hate this game. I wouldn't bet it either way at 21.5, but I'm going to take USC here. I think it's another rough week for Colorado, Jason.
I just think it's a lot of points. Like you mentioned, USC's defense. I think Colorado, they realize kind of who they are. And like Dion said, just enjoy it now because next year I'm sure he's going to have unbelievable talent at Colorado. So I like that. Too many points. Give me Colorado with the points, Harry. What do you got?
Yeah, I got it too. Last week, I definitely, when we went over this game, I loved Oregon to crush Colorado. That came to fruition. Dion got humbled. His team got humbled. But, yeah, I don't love the USC defense. They've given up a lot of points and a lot of yards versus some bad teams so far. And after getting rolled last week, Colorado's back home. I think the Fox crew is back there again, covering another Buffaloes game, another Dion game. But I think getting 21.5 here, they didn't score last week. I think they will score this week. I think USC wins this game by 14 to 17 points, but Colorado gets the cover.
I would stay away from that game. I don't trust either one of those teams at this point. Harry, is there anything else you really like this week?
Well, I will say this in that game too, the USC Colorado game. Since Colorado didn't score and they've been putting up tons of points and giving up yards too and points before that, I think they bounce back here, get drives together, put up a decent amount of points. But I think USC, obviously, no one can stop Caleb Williams and that offense right now. Whatever you get the over at, I think that's the play. Since Colorado and Oregon last week was 70.5, I thought that was a little fishy on the low side, and it went under. Colorado couldn't score. I think they will this week, but so will USC. I like the over in that game, whatever you get it at.
Jason, any parlay or anything you really like this week?
I have a gut feel parlay, boys, that I did this yesterday. Now, these gut feels, they sometimes work and sometimes it's really bad, so you tell me what you think. I got to say, Harry, your Arizona, your Wildcats at home getting 18 against Washington. I know we all think Washington's one of the top teams. I think they obviously win this game, but give me Arizona at 18 at 10 o'clock. I just think that game's going to get weird. The Bulldogs we mentioned, I got it at 14 against Auburn. And Eastern Michigan, +7 and a hook against Central. I have no idea why, but
rivalry game.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So it was a gut feel parlay.
Interesting on that Arizona. A good buddy of mine who went to Arizona, who lives here in Scottsdale with me. He says he's got an extra ticket. He's begging for me to come down. He's telling me that his Cats are going to show up on Saturday, but I've been all over the place. Three NFL games in 8 days. I kind of want to go, actually. I kind of want to go, but I think I may have to spend one Saturday night home with the wife, I think. Look, I think I have to do it once in a while.
So that's what the off season's for.
Harry, I got one for you, and I love this.
Yeah.
It's an even money big parlay, five-way parlay.
Okay, I'm writing it down.
USC on the money line against Colorado. This is on the Firekeepers High Casino and Sportsbook app. USC -1450. Michigan -950. Money line at Nebraska. Maryland at home. Money line -675 at home against Indiana.
They can score, Maryland. They can score.
And Indiana's putrid. Washington, money line at Arizona, -1050. And the final thing, Man City on the road at Wolves, who just lost to Ipswich Town today, and -290 because they're on the road. That brings it out to an even money parlay with all those heavy favorites. 5 heavy favorites, even money parlay. I absolutely love it this week. I'm all over it.
Let's do it. I'm on it. I like it.
Harry, have a good show tonight for yourself, and look forward to talking to you next week.
Sounds great, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Ben.
That is the great Harry Gagnon from The Ringer and Against All Odds with cousin Sal. He's got a podcast recording this evening, and you can listen to that pod as soon as it
People
drops.
begging him to hang out. Man, what a life.
Yeah, no, I want Harry's. No, I don't. I like my life. I need to shut up about that stuff. I mean, I sound like. Thank God my wife doesn't listen to this. I mean, I sound
let's keep going. It's great.
Yeah. No. Anyway, we are going to be back with Chad Leistikow from the Des Moines Register, Iowa Hawkeyes columnist there. in a few minutes here, and we will get into who Iowa is, their own misery, and whether this is going to be ugly for Michigan State. We'll do that when we get back. Couch in the Rube, presented by Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app, and our friends at Front 43 and Cask and Company.
Come enjoy irresistible, award-winning, handcrafted donuts and locally roasted coffee at Groovy Donuts. Surprise your family or coworkers with special holiday designs and flavors, or put the perfect finishing touch on an event with a custom order. Birthdays, weddings, gender reveals, our friends at Groovy Donuts are your answer. Experience the Groovy Donuts difference for yourself on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston. Get more information or place an order at groovydonuts.com. Wherever you are on your cannabis journey, let Sky Mint Premium Cannabis be your guide, your friend, and your place. Whether you're curious about cannabis or a seasoned connoisseur, Sky Mint's knowledgeable staff will help you with a vast selection of products to choose from to fit your needs. Sky Mint believes access to the best cannabis helps people do good and feel good, so they grow it right here in Michigan, giving you high-quality, locally grown cannabis at highly accessible prices. Visit skymint.com for special offers and location information throughout Michigan, and use the promo code CouchAndRube20 for 20% off your first visit. Sky Mint Cannabis. You'll love this place. Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play. Get your Vegas on right now from your phone, tablet, or laptop. All the hottest slots and tables, plus sports betting featuring in-game wagering. Go with the name you know. Firekeepers. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Visit firekeeperscasino.com to download the mobile app today. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117.
Find our live stream, podcast archives, as well as show, affiliate, and sponsorship information at our website, spotlightmediastudios.com.
Couch in the Rube, presented by our friends at Firekeepers Casino and the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. And our Tuesday night show also brought to you by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask and Company Kitchen and Bar. That's just north of Frandor on East Saginaw near the East Lansing border. Very pleased now to be joined by our friend Chad Leistikow from the Des Moines Register, sports columnist covering the Iowa Hawkeyes there. Chad, Iowa has its own misery. Michigan State is not alone in this. What is the misery index there?
Oh my gosh, this is right up there. The angst after that 31-0 loss to Penn State is just through the roof. I think, Graham, it kind of just goes back over these last 2 years, just the frustration of having a bad offense, a good defense, a great punter, and you just see on the national stage and you gain 76 yards against the Nittany Lions and just look overmatched. I was thinking about this actually while I was driving home from Iowa City today, and you think about 3 big stage games they've had against the 3 big teams in the Big Ten East the last couple of years. 42-3 against Michigan in the Big Ten title game. 54-10 at Columbus last year with the only touchdown scored by the defense. And then 31-0 at Penn State. But no offensive touchdowns in 12 quarters against the Big Ten East heavyweights. And it's just, that's where the frustration is. And just people are just, they're just out of sorts right now, as you can imagine.
Well, you wrote a good column today getting into the lack of receiver targets, and certainly that's something that was brought up by the quarterback. And I mean, it's become a thing. And luckily for Iowa, Michigan State is not a Big Ten East heavyweight right now, and unluckily for NBC, this is their prime time showcase game. But the sense of how, obviously Brian Ferenz is a lot of. Let's start there. Brian Ferenz is somebody who is, I'm guessing, enemy number one to a lot of Hawkeyes fans, and the whole 25 points a game thing was kind of a fun ploy little thingamajiggy for a while, if that makes sense. But first of all, he probably has to average 30 now to get there, and I'm wondering if people are just they don't really care about that anymore. They just want change.
Yeah, I know, that's what's kind of interesting, Graham. I think they still quote unquote only have to average a little under 27 the rest of the way. They're they would need to score 40 this week to get back on pace, just so you know where the counter is.
Okay.
But their schedule does lighten up a bit here. They've faced probably the two best defenses they'll face all year in Iowa State and Penn State. So there's, the Brian Ferentz counter is it's not quite over yet. But yeah, I mean, I do think there's part of the fan base that, would like to see the offense just kind of be lousy, and so they have to make that change. A lot of people make fun of it, but it really is kind of a mechanism, that Gary Barta put in before he left, that sort of takes the decision out of Kirk Ferentz's hands in a way, because he's not going to fire his own son. It's just never going to happen. And so, Gary Barta can be the bad guy, I guess, if he doesn't reach 25 points per game. But yeah, he's definitely enemy number one, and there's really not a close second to enemy number two, just because of the name, the consistency that they've had over the last 2 years. I mean, they haven't had 400 yards in any of their last. I think it's 26 games now. I have to go back to my own coverage here, but it's around 26 games. It was the Maryland game before they beat Penn State 2 years ago that they gave more than 400. They haven't gained more than 400 since.
Did anybody in the Iowa media corps fall for the AI bit that was on with Brian Ferentz, basically saying that people could crawl out of his ass or whatever it is? Do you still have that, Jason, anywhere near?
It's just making me laugh. I know Outkick did it. I know whatever Clay Travis's thing did. I know they did it.
They fell for it. Okay, so nobody fell.
Outkick did, but I don't think anyone in the Iowa media fell for it. We just because we know the account, like the account that does this stuff.
Yeah, I fell for it. I was an idiot. Like I sent it to Jason, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is great. We gotta play this. This is tremendous." Do we have it, Jason? Okay.
An obsession, and I get it. I do. But if I'm not mistaken, we just dropped 41 on Saturday. So maybe it's time to grab a hold of your little step ladders and go ahead and climb out of my ass for a while.
That's tremendous. I wish it was real. I just wish it was real. I wish he was saying things like that. It was
yeah.
So I guess the question is, how bad is this offense relative to anybody? Like Michigan State's defense was okay in the second half, but they've been torched by a great quarterback in Michael Penix, and they figured it out against Maryland and actually held them in check yardage-wise a little bit. Like, is there a chance that this is really like a 12-10 game?
I don't think so. I think here's what I think. I think Iowa's offense is better than, the narrative.
Okay.
And I also think the defense is not as good as the narrative. The defense has definitely taken a step back from where I see it. So I'm kind of looking at that over-under at 36.5 right now, and I'm thinking that's a pretty low total, especially with Michigan State's defense. So I kind of think Iowa's offense is will come out and make a little bit of a statement. I'm not saying they're going to score even 30 points, but, I think a 24-17 type game is definitely in the cards, something like that. They looked pretty decent in the first three games, and at times, they got a lead against Utah State, they got a big lead against Iowa State, and they just kind of sat on it in the second half. That's what Kirk Ferentz does. And then they flipped the script against Western Michigan in week 3. They actually came out slow in that game, got behind. And then they laid it on in the second half. They actually had a pretty good last 3 quarters of that game where they racked up close to 400 yards. So I think the offensive line has looked better. They just faced a really good defense in Penn State. I mean, I'd be surprised if that's not, that team's going to be could be playing for the Big Ten championship. We'll see. Really good team, really good quarterback, and but we'll see. I just think. Don't forget Cade McNamara has been hurt. I'm not making excuses for Iowa. He's been hurt. He hasn't had the practice time with these guys. They're not on the same page quite yet like you'd think they'd be. So every week's going to help. And, I don't know. I feel like Michigan State is probably not catching Iowa at a great time because they really want to prove something this week.
Can you kind of describe, for people who haven't experienced it, the night atmosphere at Kinnick Stadium? It's one of the more – I think it's one of the better stadiums to visit in college football, but just sort of the night atmosphere of a Kinnick game, because there have been some legendary games and legendary upsets even when they're unexpected.
Yeah, such a the stadium is so much on top of the field, and ever since they built the north end zone, which got finished in 2019, it really it almost goes straight up in that north end zone, and you see teams. So when you're watching on your TV, left to right, if Michigan State is on the left of your screen, backed up to that end zone, it's going to be really difficult to hear when that north end zone is going. We saw Penn State 2 years ago have 3 straight false starts in that top 5, like late in that top 5 matchup when they're trying to, the game was tense and they had 3 straight false starts because they couldn't even hear. And so that's part of it. And then, of course, the Children's Hospital just towers over the back. And this week's a blackout, so that everybody's going to be in all black. So it really is going to kind of feel, kind of like that dark night game feel, I guess. And I don't know what it's just. We don't get that many of them. It's kind of almost like the whiteout. You get like one a year at Kinnick, pretty much. So everyone goes all in with it too.
Is this Iowa? It looks like a flawed West Division here. Is this Iowa team still have a chance to win that division?
Yeah, I do. I think so. These next 2 weeks are going to tell us a lot about this Iowa team. They get, Michigan State, which that spread's gone, I think, from 6.5 to 12.5. So they're expected to win, I guess, that one. And then they get Purdue, so back-to-back home games. Honestly, 5 of their next 7 are at home. And one of those road games is at Wrigley Field against Northwestern, so it's almost going to be like a neutral site game. So the only road game in that whole bunch of these next 7 is at Wisconsin. So that's kind of going to decide it, probably, in my opinion. Wisconsin looks like it's improving a little bit. They looked pretty good against Purdue the other day, and that's in Madison, and Iowa never played well in Madison. So October 14th, that's probably the West Division Championship as I see it. I don't really see any of these other teams being in the mix, honestly. The other 5, I just don't see it. I mean, Nebraska's,
awful,
not good. Northwestern, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Minnesota just lost to Northwestern.
Yeah. No,
and Illinois doesn't look good. So it's really those 2 teams, I think, Iowa and Wisconsin.
So lastly, one of the things that is the Big Ten adds USC, Washington, Oregon, UCLA. I mean, like 3 top 10 teams right now. And programs on the rise coming in. The programs that sort of made up the upper middle, like the Michigan States and Iowas for a long time, are going to potentially be pushed down, and there'll be fewer of these primetime games for them. There'll be fewer. It'll just be harder to be at the top. And I'm wondering what the perception is in Iowa about all the expansion and whether this, in losing the West Division and just being part of a bigger conglomerate that includes more powerhouses, what the general vibe is there about this.
Yeah, it's mixed, I would say. I don't know if everybody's really grasped that Iowa is going to go from, you could maybe argue number 5 in the 14-team conference right now in terms of program stature, behind the big 3 in the East, Wisconsin, and then you'd probably put Michigan State and Iowa typically kind of hovering in that same range. Now you're talking 8, 9, maybe 10, 10 maybe. And that's before if Nebraska gets good. UCLA is obviously going to be part of this conversation as well. So, that part I think is going to sneak up on folks and be like, oh gosh, like we're not playing, Illinois, Purdue, and Nebraska and Minnesota every year, or you know what I mean? Like it's all of a sudden you're playing USC instead of Purdue, and you're playing Oregon instead of Indiana, maybe as a crossover. So it's. I think that's going to sneak up on people, but at the same time, I think people are kind of bored with playing the same teams every year. So I think there's some excitement about that too.
Well, Chad, I appreciate the insight. Look forward to doing your pod tomorrow and seeing you in the press box this weekend in the great stadium that is Kinnick. So.
Glad you get a night game at Kinnick, Graham. It should be pretty fun.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, no, we'll appreciate the time, and you can read Chad at the Des Moines Register, and always great work. Appreciate you, man.
All right, thanks, Graham. Appreciate you.
That is Chad Leistikow from the Des Moines Register, Hawkeye sports columnist. Does a great job, has for a long time. Any takeaways from that?
Of course, the Brian Ferentz thing is fucking fascinating. I don't understand why his dad needs something like that to fire his son. If you're ass, right?
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever heard of another offensive coordinator been put under that?
The closest thing to this is Juwan Howard and Jet Howard, because I mean that was the problem last year. You have a dad who can't hold his son accountable, and it ruins a season.
Yeah, but did he go? You have to average 12 points a game, or else
no.
I'm
But
benching you.
what I mean is he didn't hold him accountable. Same as Brian Ferentz and Kirk Ferentz. Yeah, and that it ruined a season, and it ruined. I mean, it's a mess, man. I don't.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah. Well, I don't know if this is gonna be a beautiful week for the Spartans. I can't get my arms around this. I certainly wouldn't bet this game. I don't think you can trust either one of these teams. I think you could probably throw Iowa on a money line and a parlay, but even that, I don't trust Iowa. I would not. If you're going to do anything, just do that. Is a little, but if you're an MSU fan, why the hell would you do that? We appreciate Chad. Appreciate Harry. Thanks to Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app, and of course Front 43 and Cask & Company. If you're looking for a place to watch the game this weekend, this will be our last show for the week because Jason here is going to be in Green Bay for the Lions.
Grit.
We'll be back with a hot take show after everything that happens this weekend. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Roof.